The northern branch of the Tian-Shan Trans-Ili Alatau from the north and west opens up to the Ili Valley and the flatlands of Kazakhstan. This mountain region starts in the west, has a small ridge between the rivers Chu and Kara-Kunguz, and continues on in the southeastern direction until the Kastek Pass. After that, it rises and turns east, where the Trans-Ili Alatau borders the Toraigyr range along the Chilik River Valley and the Kyrguz Alatoo in the west. The northern Tian-Shan is a relatively young mountain range, comprises of lumpy rises and folding formations in places of the earlier existing mountain ranges. There are many lakes and rivers in the mountains. For hundreds of years, the rivers were cutting their way along the bottoms of the gorges. Climbing along them from the valley, you can see the diversity of the natural landscapes that changes as you go up higher. One of the rivers is called Kim-Asar. Almaty's residents usually call the gorge Kim-Asar, which sounds quite the same. It is one of the most accessible and beloved gorges in the Trans-Ili Alatau for the city's residents. Kim-Asar has several walking routes. They are easy trails and you don't need to prepare much for them. Also, many people in Almaty don't understand why people need to go abroad overseas to mountain skiing resorts when you can go skiing near your home from fall until spring and walk in the city with a gorgeous suntan on your face.
Меня не могли остановить. Представь, я весь день работаю, допустим, выкатываю на лыжах клиентов.
Nothing could stop me. Just imagine I work all day long. I take customers skiing. I prepare the cannons and the snow grooming machines. And then all night long I walk across the slope between the cannons. I fix them, blow the snow, and watch. I hiked higher than the crossing line. I could walk all night, and it felt great. Many mountain gorges are located near the city. The ski resorts and camps of different classes are in different gorges of the mountain range. One of the oldest camps is in Kim-Asar, and if you want to reach it, you first have to get from the city to the Medeo Gorge to a height of 1,600 meters above sea level. But now let's turn to history. The military fort Vernoye is in the foothills of the Trans-Ili Alatau and was founded by the Russian government in 1854. The construction of the Cossack station was led by Major Przemyślski. In 1867, Vernoye became the center for the Semirechensky region, which was included in the Turkestan Governorate. A famous Russian scientist came to this area, a geographer, botanist, state official, and a public person, vice chairman of the Emperor's Russian Geographic Society, Pyotr Simonov, who was later added with the honorable addition Tian-Shansky to his last name to honor his scientific research in Asia. According to Humboldt, Tian-Shan was a volcanic mountain system with giant fire-breathing volcanoes. And Simonov was hoping to see here lots of smoking craters, but even without them, there is so much interesting material for research. According to the scientist's memoirs, there used to live tigers in the foothills of the Trans-Ili Alatau. About at the same time, two more world-famous researchers were in this area, Chukan Walekhanov and Nikolai Svyertsev. The mountains played an important role in the life of Kazakhs. The essence of nomadic cattle farming is that once a year, people gathered all their belongings and traveled with their herds from the sunburned steppes to the high-elevation grazing lands with green grass, ice-cold water in the rivers, and cool shade. By the time the three famous researchers visited the Kazakh lands, all gorges and rivers were already named, and only inaccessible glaciers and white peaks remained unnamed. Simonov had studied all sources mentioning the geography of this mountainous land. In 1856, the Geographic Society approved the expedition to Central Asia. The route was set through Barnaul, Semey, Kopal towards Fort Verney. The scientist began his study of Tian-Shan from the banks of the mountain lake Issyk-Kul. And Simonov managed to reach the depth of Tian-Shan with its two 7,000ers only in 1857. The Tian-Shan adventures lasted for around 2 years, and the geographical map now had new points and names. Simonov had identified the general locations of the Tian-Shan ridges, one of which is the Trans-Ili Alatau. He determined the height of the snow line and discovered the Tian-Shan glaciers. He also proved that this mountainous country has no volcanoes. Therefore, he disproved Humboldt's theory on the volcanic origins of the Sky Mountains that was widely spread in Western science. Simonov got rich and diverse information on the geological structure, vegetation, and animal world of the Tian-Shan. With his expedition, Simonov set the foundation for the new geographical methods of expedition works. Let's get back to the Kimasar Gorge, located in the close vicinity of Medeo. The road slowly runs up and soon stops at the very foothill of the mountain slopes. Further on, you will have to hike along the trails, and that's what hundreds of Almaty citizens do every weekend when they select their routes. It is such a pleasure to get away from asphalt and move through the pine forest, breathing in the smell of the pine trees and walking over fallen pine cones. A river with the same name runs in the bottom of the gorge. The aspen and birch groves have birds singing. The branches of pine trees covered in heavy snow stand in your way, and the snow is cracking under your feet. It's cool in the shade and hot under the sun. Some stop to have some tea and enjoy the landscape. Others choose long rim routes. For instance, you can get from Kim-Asar to the neighboring Butakovskaya Gorge, or walk even further and reach the tourist camp Almatau, but the most popular one is the hike to the top of the Furmanovka hill. Which way are you going? Do you see that top? It's the peak Furmanovka. That's the one. And once there? Skiing there is awesome. The snow is untouched. You can get down like this. Let's ski. A small top with low slopes in the upper streams of the river Kim-Asar at the water separation line between the rivers Kim-Asar and Butakovka has a height of 2,850 meters above sea level. After climbing the Kim-Asar range, the tourists get to the Kim-Asar shelter. This is the place where skiers go skiing and the hikers move up the northeastern ridge. In the winter, the trail is well trodden, but sometimes it gets covered with snow, and in some places the layer of snow is waist deep. From Furmanovka, you can get a view of the main point of the Trans-Ili Alatau ridge, the peak Talgar. If you walk even further, you can reach the peak Chimbolak, and this will be a route with an elevation range from 1,600 to 3,600 meters. The mountain rises above the ski resort Chimbolak, and the history of the mountain ski sports in Kazakhstan started in the first half of last century at this very place. The skiers chose some suitable slope, cleared it, and arranged the ski run. In 1951, the future star of mountain skiing, Alexandra Artemenko, went to the first Soviet Union championship as part of the Russian ski team. In 1953, Artemenko won her first champion title and became the first in Kazakhstan USSR champion in all types of ski sports. And in 1956, she represented Kazakhstan in the 7th Olympic Games in Cortina d'Ampezzo. Alexandra Artemenko is an 11 times champion of the Soviet Union, 15 times silver and 6 times bronze champion of USSR, 6-time winner of the USSR Trade Unions Games, 70 times champion of Kazakhstan. After her sports career, she was coaching the team of mountain skiers for many years and set a foundation for the mountain ski sports in Kazakhstan. Every year, competitions in the memory of the legendary mountain skier Alexander Artemenko take place at the Chimbolak. If we choose another route through the Kimasar Gorge, then we will learn the story of another legendary person. Many times this path was walked by the famous Kazakhstani mountain climber Anatoly Bukreyev, who lived in the settlement Gorny Sadovod, located in one of the gorges of the Trans-Ili Alatau. It is a long way to go, but there is nothing impossible for a trained person, and Anatoly had often exercised along this route, climbing from Gorny Sadovod to the tourist camp Almatau, and running from there to the Medeo Gorge through Kim-Asar. He was training with the team of the Army Sports Club. He managed to climb 11 peaks, which were over 8,000 meters in the Himalayas and Karakorum. 4 times he climbed the Mountain Everest and died in an avalanche on the slope of Himalayan 8000er Annapurna in 1997. His friends set a copper bell in his memory on one of the peaks in the Trans-Ili Alatau. Today, those who like running in the mountains or sky runners repeat the trail of the great mountain climber, and once a year they run to one of the peaks in the memory of Anatoly Bukreyev.
Первый раз поднялся на вершину, я сразу как-то вот, когда встал, понял, что вот это вот мое. И до сих пор.
When I climbed to the top for the first time, I stood there and realized that this is what I want to do. And until this day, rock climbing for me is the most important thing, both in the mountains and in life. No matter what happens, for example, there's one mountain not far from here. I got caught in the avalanche there 3 times, and my friend got swept up by the avalanche as well. But still I keep going there. Same for the other peaks. It is a way of life that you cannot say no to. I keep going to the mountains. Every day is like the first day. It continues to draw you no matter what happens. Traveling in the gorges of the northernmost branch of the Tian-Shan Mountains, the Trans-Ili Alatau, can be of interest for botanists, zoologists, ornithologists, mountain skiers, tourists, rock climbers, and amateur historians. The animal world in these mountains is represented by many kinds of birds: rodents, herbivores, and predators, mountain sheep, red deer, roe deer, wildcats, ermines, weasels, least weasels, wild boars, foxes, wolves, bears, and snow leopards. All these animals live in the gorges. Concerning vegetation, this area has lots of endemic and rare plants. The leafed forests have Mushketov's creeping shrub, which is considered to be a representative of the ancient forest mountain flora. The rare plants include the Trans-Ili barberry, ordinary apricot, Almaty hawthorn, large aglet birch, and others. Shrank spruce reaches the height of more than 50 meters, but the higher is the elevation, the shorter it gets. The pine forest gets more rare closer to the forest line. Local tour guides will tell you a lot about historically important people, and if you ask them, they might tell you the legends of the Tian-Shan Virgin, who visits the tourists at night, all dressed in a white dress like an Indian sari, or about a black rock climber, or the tracks of Yeti that were indeed found in different places of the Tian-Shan.
Когда один находишься на большой высоте долгое время, возникает эффект присутствия, совершенно четкий.
When you're alone at high elevations for a long time, you get a feeling of somebody's presence. It's very clear. You feel as if there's someone near you, a person, someone you know, a partner. You feel them. I had this feeling for over an hour. It was a bit creepy, but then I found it funny. The nature of the Trans-Ili Alatau is rich, and so it enriches the life of the residents of these foothills. The folklore is quite rich as well.